How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is RuffledRowlit, and welcome back to a brand new video, guys. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon rumors and everything in between. So, let's get started. Sit back, relax, and let's start with this thing first here, which is going to be this rumor from 4chan, which just says a lot of, well, just different type of stuff. So, let's zoom in and take a look at what they're talking about here. Well, starting things off, they say, all the info I have in no specific order from Anonymous posted on the 7th of March. So, this was about 10 days ago. I don't know if I covered this one, though. I think I may have missed this rumor because there's been a lot of rumors lately, and to be honest, it's very easy to miss one of these. So let's take a look at what this one has to say, though. But it says, the game is about collecting data to not only build better habitats for the wild Pokemon, but also make, but also to make artificial Mega Stones, allowing Pokemon that didn't get an organic Mega Stone to Mega Evolve. Okay, so this would imply, like, collecting data would then help you to get the, I guess, resource that would then allow you to create a Mega Stone for Pokemon that don't naturally Mega Evolve, right? Which sounds fair. That's a good, easy way to introduce new Mega Evolutions and have like an excuse for it. So there is that. Then they say also abilities and held items are returning. New legendary link to artificial Mega Stones. That actually makes sense. Again, if they're artificially creating them, there's going to be an element of, like, you know, don't mess with nature. Zygarde is, of course, a representation of nature, and you know, then there's going to be a Pokemon that's, you know, the artificial version of that, which makes sense, right? Again, it also makes sense because given that we have the tree, right, the tree with like literally the roots coming out of it. Which is more nature-y, right? So it's like messing with nature of sorts, right? They go on to say then also that apparently themes of an ecosystem balance, not overstepping nature, which that makes sense. I mean, given how the game looks, we have those areas that are kind of wild areas, but then you can also see in parts of the trailer that they're actually building and working on stuff. So that is there. They also say technically no evil team, just misguided. So yeah, we're not going to have bad guys in this that are actually bad guys. I guess, yeah, like he says, they're misguided. Which, fine. I mean, it's not like brand new for them to do something like that. Doesn't sound like something that would be brand new or that crazy, right? You can say misguided as well for like the bad team, you know, Team Star, I guess. I forget what they're literally called in Scarlet and Violet. Similar principle to Team Star, right? They also then say that technically no evil team, right? AZ is forced to use the damaged weapon to stop the legendaries from destroying Lumios. Okay, that sounds reasonable. This act then scatters yet more Megastones across the planet. It's implied that all regions will have access to Megas going forward. Okay, that's fair. If that's true, that means the Megas would be the brand, like, not the brand new. Megas would be the, like, main feature going forward, right? Over other stuff. So they would, like, prioritize that over, like, something like, if you look at like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, we had the Paradox Pokemon, right? The Paradox forms. So this would be like the replacement of that. Like Megas would kind of, or not replacement, but rather Megas will come in and sort of make those other options obsolete. It will kind of make them like pointless to have, because why would you have them if you already have, you know, Megas going forward? And Megas, you can kind of give Megas to any Pokemon, which I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to be real with you. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. They say that Z-moves and Terra Stylization are mentioned in the story. Dynamax isn't. Okay. Z-moves and Terra are mentioned, but Dynamax isn't. Okay. Multiplayer battles were tested and scrapped due to worries with latency. That is unfortunate. I would have loved to see what this would have been like in a competitive setting. Like, imagine this game, this like system of play where you actually dodge and stuff. That is actually really cool. Like, I like the battle system in this game. Just imagine what that would have looked like if you could actually multiplayer battle. Because let's be honest, you're probably not going to be able to multiplayer battle in this game. Like, multiplayer is just not going to be a thing. Besides maybe trading Pokemon, like at most, I would assume. Like maybe at most a trade. And that's about it. That's about the only connectivity besides Pokemon Home that you might have. But like, yeah, there's not going to be any multiplayer in this game, which is unfortunate because I think it would have been really fun in a game like this, especially with a new system of, you know, combats. Then they say that apparently post-game Battle Frontier, okay, that would be sick. That would make sense given that whole tower we see, like, oh, sorry, the Prism Tower and all that, like Lumios Tower, whatever you want to call it. We do see it, you know, at the end of the trailer, and there is some implied thing that there's some sort of battle facility going on there, so that's fair. Acts similarly to the Pokemon World Tournament in Gen 5, bringing back lots of familiar faces. This is exactly what I think it's going to do. See, I really think that that is exactly how this, like, new battle facility is going to function, and that is going to be when Lumiose, right? I genuinely think that actually makes total sense. Like, I'm just be honest with you, I think it makes total sense. I see this being as an absolute win in my opinion. The World Tournament is a cool, like, to begin with, it's a cool cool place, cool feature that we just haven't really seen since then, right? Like, I don't remember actually seeing it ever since that point, right? We haven't really seen it interacted with or anything in other Pokemon games, so there's that. They also then say that approximately it's a time skip from X and Y, which is about 10 years. Returning characters are aged up appropriately, which that makes sense. Keep in mind, right, like this game isn't set in some distant future. It's kind of set in our current time within the Pokemon universe, because X and Y technically happened 12 years ago. Like, literally in our time, but also in the in-game world time, they probably would have happened like 12 years ago. So it makes sense. But apparently, they also say that boss battles, post-game included, are similar to Frenzied Nobles from PLA. Okay, so boss battles and post-game included are similar to Frenzied Nobles. Well, what does he mean by post-game included? But, like, there's Pokemon in the post-game that you can capture that are, like, frenzied, which, fair enough, that's kind of what I would expect. They'll say very aggressive, have shorter cooldowns than the player. Ooh, that would be interesting. That sounds fun. That actually sounds really fun. I would be very intrigued. They also say story bosses are relatively easy. Post-game Battle Frontier difficulty ramps up fast. Sounds fun. They also say proper positioning and timing is required to beat some of the higher end battles. Bosses will take full advantage of your animation lock. That actually sounds epic. I love that. If Pokemon can become like hardcore and difficult, that'd be pretty neat. Sorry, I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls lately, so I'm just like very much in the mood for something like this. But then we move on to, apparently, story bosses are relatively easy. Post-game Battle Frontier ramps up. Proper positioning and timing is required to beat some of the higher end battles. Bosses will take full advantage of your animation lock. Okay, and then still no Mega Flygon. I do not believe that. Come on, man. Flygon and Jinx are the two Pokemon that we know for a fact that we're going to be working on making Megas out of, right? Like, we know for a fact those two we're going to get some form of Mega evolution, right? And somehow, here we still are talking about it, because Jinx already had one, like an actual Mega evolution that they scrapped, and Flygon, they literally just didn't know how to design it. Like, they didn't know what to do with the design, and that's why they scrapped it, but it was actually planned. So, come on, man. You got to give it to us this time. They also then say, Mega Luxray, Mega Arcanine, Mega Kalos starters are confirmed. There are more, but I haven't seen them. Okay, Mega Luxray, that's like the standard one everybody expects. Mega Arcanine, that's a little bit more out there, I would say. Mega Kalos starters, that would actually make sense, because those three didn't get Megas in the original X and Y, so it's about time they get them. And also using the artificial, like, Mega Stone as an excuse would make sense. Starter Trio don't Mega Evolve, but have regional forms. See, this is where you lose me, because I am guaranteeing you, there's no way that we're going to get, like, regional forms for these three starters. Now, we can argue about it in the comments, but I have my reasons, and I just do not believe that it's going to be regional forms, because this doesn't make sense. If this is set 10 years in the future, why would these three Pokemon, Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile, those three Pokemon already exist? They already exist within the actual scope of, Pokemon X and Y. They were already in X and Y. But, other Pokemon that could have been there instead of Totodile, for example, or Chikorita, in case they would want to do the other ones, like people thought it was going to be Snivy, Litten, or Scorbunny, or whatever, is because those Pokemon didn't exist at the time. I mean, Snivy Snivy did. But these three in particular were already in X and Y, and they didn't have Megas in X and Y, but they didn't have regional forms in X and Y. So why would they now suddenly have changed and have regional forms? That wouldn't make sense. But the Megas make sense, even with what this guy says, that, we're going to get, Mega Evolutions and all that kind of stuff. We're going to have like, new organic Mega Stones, and ooh, that makes way more sense as well with what we're saying here, that they would get Mega Forms. But again, it is what it is. Apparently, they also say that only a handful of new Pokemon, convergent species included, but a lot of regional forms, all linked to the Wild Zone. See, again, it just doesn't make sense to me. I mean, sure, you could make some argument for it making sense, but it's 10 years is not enough time for Pokemon to fully, like, evolve into something else and adapt to a new nature at the end of the day. So there's that. They'll say not called a collision form, seems to be ditching the region, insert region, insert Pokemon name, and instead naming them based on attributes. Okay, that'll be interesting. Glacial Furret is the first new form discovered. That actually sounds like something they would do. See, I don't expect regional forms, but I do expect if they do something going forward, that they will make a change like this, where they would like actually make them based more on the attributes. So glacial ferret is a new form discovered. Ice ground with refrigerate. Original design looked too similar to Palworld Chillette and was redesigned during development to make it more white than blue. Now, I don't remember what Palworld's Chillette looks like. It's this thing, I guess. So there's that. Which, yeah, I can see how this would be like ferret or like an icy ferret. I can see it. But yeah, that's pretty much the rumor, though. It's an interesting one. There are a few gaps in it that I don't really know what to feel about. But overall, pretty all right. Pretty solid. Not that bad. Now let's move on to something else. Now, this is a post by Lutu, who said, we've translated a new statement from the Pokemon Legends EA director, Haruka Tochigi, which, yes, that is the person who's directing the games this time around. And if we could look up, actually, who Haruka is, it is a developer over at Game Freak, who joined the company in 2013 after previously working at Level 5, which is the people that make Yokai Watch and stuff like that. And he has also worked on the Pokemon series since Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. He was the art director of Little Town Hero and the CG director of Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is neat. Now, the CG director, well, I mean, yeah, you handle all the, the CGI, right? Like anything, 3D models having to do certain actions, etc., etc. So there you go. But yeah, since then, he's worked on a few different things. I mean, just in general, if you look at the entire list of things he's worked on, he was the 3D visual section director for Scarlet and Violet. He was the CG director, field design team lead, and the lighting team for Legends Arceus. So he was involved with that. But this time around, apparently, he's going to be the actual director, as far as I'm aware, of this game. And here's what he said in Famitsu Dengeki 2024 Awards. And here is what he says. We're very grateful and honored to receive this. Being awarded even before we ever published gameplay videos showed us the high expectations of the main series. We, the Pokemon Legends EA dev team, have been putting in the daily effort to deliver the new game. The release is just around the corner. Please wait a little longer. Pokemon Legends games are filled with new attempts by Game Freak, as was the case prior, to bring a new surprises for players to experience. PLZA will mega evolve, incorporating new battle mechanics and plenty of gameplay elements unique to urban environments. It's in the final fine-tuning phase now. And when did he say this? Like, he posted this at the beginning of the year, right? Look forward to the new adventure in Lumio City. Again, thank you so much. So, a fine-tuning phase. So if they're fine-tuning the game, they shouldn't need more than like 6 to 8 months to do that. I don't think they need more than that if their final fine-tuning phase should be ready to ship, right? So that's pretty decent. I mean, the fact that they seem to be like, it seems like they've had enough time and they've been able to like actually slap things together properly. It is really strange that they haven't announced the release date. I don't know why that is. If it has anything to do with the Nintendo Direct coming up, if it's some other reason, I don't get it. Like I'm a little confused. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little confused, but I'm excited. Which, speaking of the Nintendo Direct, by the way, the Nintendo Direct has only got 16 days left, guys. We are 16 days away from the Nintendo Direct in April on the 2nd, right? You guys, if you're curious about when it's happening your time, here is a list of every country, like time zone. I mean, again, if your country's not on here, just compare it to the countries that are closest to you, and you should be able to figure it out. But yeah, if you want to watch it in LA or Chicago or New York, it's going to be pretty much really early in the morning for you. Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, it's going to be just, early morning, but not too late, so 11 a.m. For Europe, it's going to be happening in the afternoon for all of us, pretty much. And then going for Asia Pacific, it's going to be pretty much in the afternoon, unless you are in Tokyo or Australia, where you're, I guess, Japan or Australia. So Tokyo or Sydney, you're going to have it very late, practically midnight. So there is that, in case you guys were curious. That's happening in 2 weeks, barely. We just don't have a lot of time to go now. Like 2 weeks, basically, 2 weeks. So there's that. Also, there was a rumor from a person called Ecstasis, who basically came out and said that there is going to be a release of late June 2025 for the Switch 2. Apparently, this is when the release date is going to happen, according to this user, who's a Riddler, not a Riddler, but like a leaker of sorts, which I don't know how his track record is, but there's that. Speaking of Switch 2, again, here's another piece of a rumor. Switch 2 rumors. Switch 2 launch title, Elden Ring. I've been playing Elden Ring on my Legion Go, and I've been enjoying it. So that would be nice to have on a Switch too. Tekken 8, Call of Duty, potentially Black Ops 6 or Warzone. Fallout 4, that's a neat one. Starfield, couldn't care less. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, if you like flying. Halo the Master Chief Collection, that's a crazy one. Like, dude, that is a crazy one. Halo being on a Nintendo console, that is wild. And then Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which that's a good one. That's a solid game to have on that list. So there's that. But yeah, again, there's pretty much that. There's also, Nintendo just released an update for Nintendo Switch 2 on an AI resolution upscaling. It's happening, folks. And apparently, yes, they released some patents, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's a patent application where they are looking to seemingly patent their way of, like, some form of, how would I say this? Like, they're trying to patent some form of, like, AI upscaling, if that makes sense. Like, they're trying to use AI to upscale the games to make sure the quality of the game looks better. Now, I'm going to be real with you. I'm not the biggest fan of AI upscaling in games or AI frame generation, especially because I think it's a lazy excuse instead of making better hardware. And that's going specifically to NVIDIA. I have an NVIDIA graphics card in my thing here, but they're charging an arm and a leg. My entire computer costs as much as a brand new RTX 5090, which is insane. Okay, you could, like, PC gaming is just getting like harder and harder. You can't even buy the old gen now, like the 4000 series of GPUs anymore from NVIDIA, because they're literally not being made. So now the prices have fucking skyrocketed like insanity. Like, it's beyond, like, the prices are insane right now. You could buy literally you can buy a car for the price of one of these things now. So I mean, I don't like it that they're literally all they're pumping into graphics cards. I'm not talking about Nintendo right now. I'm talking about just graphics cards in general. I don't like that they're literally just pumping a bunch of shit we don't really care about into that. I just prefer it if they didn't do that. But what can you do? It's what we're dealing with. So there's that. But yeah, again, I'd love to know you guys' thoughts and opinions about this entire thing. Would just love to know what you guys' thought process is, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to work. This might be good for Nintendo, though, because Nintendo, again, it's a handheld console. And for handheld consoles, because, I expect, like, a little less out of them because it's not a fully fledged computer. I do expect a little less from them. So I'm okay with them using AI upscaling just to make the actual resolution of the game look better. And if they're going to use, like, frame generation, fuck it, I'm okay with that, as long as it doesn't, like, make the games look choppy and weird, or give an excuse for them to not put more effort in to make better hardware. That's, like, the big one that I don't want to see, is, like, them just being lazy with it. That would be really shitty. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is this right here. Somebody in China or Taiwan is actually selling working Nintendo Switch 2s. Now, I don't know if this is true, probably most likely a scam, which is why they say do not, like, go on there. But it's possible that somebody in China may have already, and Taiwan, because that's usually where the production of these things is, like the actual, manufacturing, that it may potentially have had some, there might be somebody who has leaked those things out. So yeah, that's pretty much that, guys. Thank you all for watching. I'll be seeing you guys again probably tomorrow. So thank you for watching. I'll see you then. Peace out. Bye-bye.